Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
And now, the A-Plus League.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the A-Plus Sports League podcast. Week 11 picks, previews, survivor picks, props, and more. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, share around with your friends. Let's try to grow the podcast. I'm your host, Matty Maitai. With me, as always, is Nick Cometa and Matt Limonati. What's going on, guys?
Living the dream. What's going on?
Another big week of my defense beating someone in fantasy. We'll get to that a little bit in the latest section.
Yeah.
I just want to bring that up. Bird, what happened? Is that
The Minnesota Vikings defense is dead to me.
New man on the moon.
nice 16 points on Monday night to secure the win? Back up to first place. Feels good. It feels good to be on top right now.
It's like my third brutal loss in 3 weeks. It's insane. Last week I lost to Savannah by 0.2, and then I lose to you on Monday night to the Minnesota defense, which looks like Swiss cheese most of the time.
You know what I actually just heard that, and I'm sorry to derail the podcast from the very beginning, but I just heard that I actually liked was a wild card rule for fantasy leagues.
I heard this.
Yeah, so same podcast.
The point scored thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that if you have 6 playoff spots, the first 5 make it in by standings the normal way that everybody knows, and then the 6th playoff spot would be determined by the person with the most points for that's not in the top 5 standing spots. And I kind of like that for somebody like you in our work league where you're sitting in 5th place right now with the second, or no, by far the most points for in the league.
Yeah.
And if you get screwed, lose another week, and you're in 7th place, it would just be a way to deter that.
My team just can't play defense.
Would that
They're
also,
the Seahawks.
Would that also help you, Matt?
No.
Oh, why is that?
Because my team's terrible in that league, yes.
Oh, okay.
That's all right. Big week. Going to get back into it. I can't wait for this upcoming fantasy week. And with that, I guess we should probably just jump right into picking the games, huh? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
All right. First night, Thursday Night Football. All right, let's talk about the Thursday Night Football game. We've got the Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. This is another rematch of a primetime game just played a few weeks ago where it went to overtime and the Arizona Cardinals came out victorious. The opening line is Seattle -3, over under 56.5. What do you guys think?
I mean, this game is just the first time in, I believe, NFL history, and it's just because it's a crazy-ass 2020 where we're getting 2 teams playing each other in a primetime game 3 weeks apart from each other. Like, we're getting
Sunday night to Thursday, yeah.
Exactly. It's a little crazy, but, I mean, this game, I don't really have a strong feeling one way or the other. I'm definitely leaning the Seahawks. The Seahawks, surprisingly, are now ranked. They look like their offensive line had improved a little bit, but they are the worst pass blocking O-line in the league, and that might be why letting Russ cook hasn't been working the past couple of weeks, as much as everyone's sick of hearing people say, let Russ cook. And they're still ranked 4th overall in offensive DVOA, though, and I think that they come out here. They've been in a little bit of a free fall here the past few weeks. I think they come out here and keep the ball away from little brother here in Kyler Murray, and that's not a short joke, but I'm still taking the Seahawks laying 3.
I think a lot of what I've been saying in the last couple of weeks is I'd like the Seahawks to cover a lot of these games. I think back home they come back to what they've been used to be. They're not going to let the Cardinals win twice against them, especially once inside their own stadium. At home, they've been putting up major points, 30 plus, I think, in every game besides the Vikings.
Yep.
So I like the Seahawks to cover and get their offense back on track after a tough Rams game last week.
I mean, this
And
one.
also, but the thing is, like, everyone's talking about the over in this game. Set at what, 57?
56.5.
I saw it 57.
I also loved it last week, and it just didn't come close.
I know. I saw it last week at 50. I saw this earlier in the week at 58.
Wow. So it's already dropping.
So it's dropped a little bit.
I think Thursday night defenses typically don't show up, so the over isn't a bad play with two high-scoring offenses, but it's a lot of points. I mean, you're talking, 31-28 or 30-27, something like that to hit. So it's a risky play, but the over is definitely going to be hammered hard. I was leaning the Seahawks all week. They're in the bounce back spot. They've had a rough couple of weeks, but now they can go back home, prove that they're the team that we thought they were, leading the NFC. But the more I look at this game, and originally this was 3.5 points, which I love the hook. Arizona's been playing a lot better defense than Seattle, at least, and I think Arizona's offense can keep up with Seattle. Tyler Lockett should play, but he might not, and even if he does play, he's not 100%. So the offense is a little banged up. They do get Carlos Hyde and maybe Chris Carson back tonight.
At minimum, one of the two.
Yeah, so they'll have a little bit more of a rushing attack, but they don't run the ball. So, okay, great. You're going to have someone who's slightly better than DJ Dallas and Travis Homer.
But beyond just running the ball, at least Chris Carson or Hyde is a much better pass blocker, and that's going to be a big help in my eyes.
That could be big. I'm going to take the points. I just think that it's going to be a shootout, and if Seattle wins, it's going to be a close game. Maybe it pushes, but yeah, Arizona.
So one other just point from me on this game is just that this division seems to be wide open. We got three teams that are good to very good teams, and this is essentially a must-win for Seattle at this point because they've already lost to the Cardinals. They're sitting in second or third in the division, and if they go down 0-2 to the Cardinals, they have it, then they're essentially destined to a wild card spot at best. And I just think that they're going to come out guns blazing here, throw everything they've got at them, and I think they pull it out.
I agree with you. It's one of those games where I definitely think Seattle is going to be motivated to win this game. Big division game, Thursday night at home usually helps the home team a little bit more. But it's one of those things where I just think Arizona won on a miraculous play last week. So you can sit there and say, they're not as good as they kind of are. They lost to Miami. They barely beat Seattle. They play close games, but they're never out of it. I think that's the biggest thing from the Hail Mary. They're never out of it. They have one of the most elusive quarterbacks in the league. Yep. You have probably top 2-3 receiver in the league on your team.
Yep.
And just an offense that is predicated to spread it out and go deep down the field. So even if it's not Hopkins, you can go to Kirk. Larry Fitz is the smartest player in the fucking league. Anytime they're in a 2-minute drill, he's catching the ball and just
running to the refs.
Just running to the refs, or just barely sticking the ball over the first yard marker. He's just a genius. And I just think even if they're down 10 or down 8, they come down, score a touchdown, lose by 2, and they'll cover.
So what if you had the Cardinals minus 2.5 last week?
The Bills were minus 2. No, you're right. Sorry, the Bills were plus 2. Yeah, that sucks. That was a lot
of places it was 2.5 though with the hook, and that sucks that they and it was a smart play to kneel the 2-point conversion to avoid an untimed play, but that sucked for a lot of people.
So I still don't get that. They're up 2. If they kick the extra point and it gets blocked, that's just 1 point, right? Or is it 2?
I believe it's 2.
It's 2 they get.
And it's an untimed play.
Okay, so then it's genius. Yeah. That's not as nearly as bad a beat as the Browns-Texans games. I don't know how we didn't lead off with that. Nick Chubb and the Browns, once again, are fucking dead to me. That team is ridiculous.
It is a bad beat, no question. But at the same time, I'm never going to hate on a team or a player for making a smart football decision, whether or not it affects gambling, fantasy, otherwise. You can't hate on Chubb for going out of bounds there when it seals the victory.
But the thing is, why even go out of bounds?
They just lay down on the ground.
And that's fair. And maybe
to run the clock out.
Either way,
you're going to take a knee anyway, but
off on everything.
Yeah. So
it still makes it's over a
10-point game. Yes, correct.
So for anyone who doesn't realize, the Cleveland Browns were favored by 3.5 points. So if you had Cleveland minus 3.5, the score is 10-7 with about a minute left. Nick Chubb had a clear-cut touchdown, running away with it, 50 yards ahead of anyone else, and then stepped out of bounds at the 1-yard line so that they could take a knee and just win the game instead of covering the spread. He scores a touchdown. Yeah, as Nick was just saying, it's a 2-possession game.
Good.
It doesn't matter. So that was bad.
He could have literally ran across the goal line for 5 minutes. He didn't have anyone close to him.
No.
He could have just kept running back and forth and wasted the clock.
I used to love doing that in Madden.
It's true. You used to do that in Madden. So that's a bad beat.
Yeah.
And
do you want to finish up the Seahawks?
yeah, sorry, we got a little sidetracked there. Seahawks Cardinals. Let's talk about Thursday night props. Nick, what do you got for us?
Right now I'm going to be a little bit aggressive. I don't know why. Maybe I woke up thinking something. I'm
Feeling dangerous?
Feeling dangerous. I'm going to go with a couple here. I'm going to go with Russell Wilson over 2.5 touchdowns at -108.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
I'm going to go Cardinals first half points over 12.5. I'm going to go with DeAndre Hopkins to catch 9, 10, 11, and 12 catches today.
You're going to put them all in and sprinkle a little?
I'm going to sprinkle everywhere.
12 catches?
9 is plus 129. 10 is plus 240. 11 is plus 460. And 12 is plus 830. I'm going to get a little bit of sprinkle on all of it. I think Kyler Murray has gone away from Hopkins. I think they're going to put him into the gameplay. I think they're going to go build momentum off that Hail Mary they had last week. And he's going to Kyler Murray reminded himself last week. He's like, oh wait, I have probably the best hands in the league. Why am I not throwing to him?
So to pull up some of Hopkins' stats here, as Nick was talking about the catches, he has only hit that 9+ threshold 3 times this year. Last time he did it, Seahawks, week 7, 10 catches for 103. So not a bad idea. I think 12 is pushing it a little bit much, but
it is a little bit of a. It's not like to put the whole.
No, but progressively sprinkle, maybe a little bit more on the 9, then less on the 10. Work your way to the 12.
Yeah. Or for people that may not do this, what's it called?
What are you talking about? Is this like a sex thing?
Not parlay, but
keep it all in.
Teaser?
This is gold.
Round robin?
Round robin. I would do some sort of a round robin with Hopkins catches.
Oh.
And sprinkle from
How the fuck you do that?
7 up.
Okay, I like that. I like the Hopkins catch bet.
Yeah. So and also if you think Hopkins is anytime touchdowns only -110.
What?
Yeah, it's -110. That's the bet I like.
What?
Hopkins, and so I had Hopkins a big night, Russell Wilson over 2.5, Cardinals over at 12.5 at halftime, and Hopkins anytime touchdown.
I mean, like we already said, I think 12 catches is getting a little bit out there in terms of Hopkins. I love the
Sometimes
7.
you gotta live a little.
No, I hear you, but I would almost lean the other way. And Christian Kirk has hit at least 4 receptions in, I think, all 4 of his last games. Then he had a 2 catch and then a couple more 5s before that. So I think it's 6 of the past 7 games he's had 4 or more. And if you go over 4 receptions, I'm looking at this as either a push or a win. I think he gets over 3. Right now, over 4 is -130. I'm fine if I push that, and that's my problem.
It's not a bad one. The other one,
Is it over 4.5?
No, over 4, so -130. So a push at 4, right?
No, it's maybe that may be out over 3.5 that you're looking at. Right?
yeah, 4 would be over 3.5.
Yeah, no, it shows it as over 4, not at 4+.
Is it at least 4?
No, it's over 4.
Oh.
So you're right. We would have to get to 5. I still like it. I like it a little less than what I originally thought. My mistake, but.
Okay. The 3 props that I like. Nick just talked about one, the Hopkins anytime -111. It just seems
wow.
Almost 2-to-1 odds almost 1-to-1 odds to get the best player on the field scoring a touchdown. I mean, I think that's just easy.
He only has 4 touchdowns this year. One's on a Hail Mary. That's what.
But one was against Seattle last time, and if they're gonna, Seattle is one of the worst pass defenses in the league. So this guy's gonna eat them up. Just think
he's getting a little bit more of the Julio Jones treatment that Julio's seen for the last couple of years, where he'll get the yards, he'll get the catches. But he just can't get into the end zone.
This guy's had multiple seasons with double-digit touchdowns. I feel like he could go on a run easily and score in the next 5 weeks, and no one would be shocked. So At minus 111, that's just good odds, I think.
It is.
Another one I like, especially if Tyler Lockett's going to be out, DK Metcalf anytime touchdown, minus 143. Last time he played Seattle, he got shut down, did not have a very good game, but he did score a touchdown in overtime that got called back. I think he's a monster. I think he's going to have a good game, and if Tyler Lockett's out, especially, I think that's a guarantee that he scores.
Agreed. It looks like Lockett's. It's unless some sort of setback, Lockett's going to play, but I still like that at minus 143, and I definitely just threw in some money on Hopkins anytime TD, so love it.
The other two, real quick, I like Kenyon Drake over 14.5 carries at minus 118. I think I just think they're going to work him back in. He had a lot of carries last week. I'm pretty sure he hit that last week on his carries. 14.5. They love rushing the ball with him. I mean, even when Chase Edmonds was the main back 2 weeks ago, he had 25 rushes. Like, they like to run the ball. I don't get it, but they love to.
No, you're right here. Drake has had 14 or more in all, but he has one game at 13 and one game at 14. Every single other game is over.
Yeah, I don't want to count on his production for rushing yards or receiving yards or anything like that because he has some shit games this year. But he gets the volume.
Yeah.
So 14.5 carries at minus 118. You can bring it up to 15.5 if you want to get plus money, but 14.5 just seemed like a safe number to me. And I don't know. I think just
maybe I don't like it, which means I love it. I don't know. I'm looking at some of the stats here and makes sense. And the thing about the reason why I don't like Metcalf is because he's playing Patrick Peterson. He's going to get that matchup all day. And
Peterson sucks.
He's not been great this year. He's not the old Peterson.
But he still shut him down last time.
He's Tampa Bay Revis. That's what he is right now. He's like, I used to be good. But
Revis Peninsula?
Yeah.
Once again, two bets I didn't like. Maybe I better.
Anyway, my last one, Chase Edmonds over 2.5 catches. They just like to dink and dunk to him sometimes, and it's minus 170, but I just think it's... You can go up to 3.5, and it brings it closer to like even money, but 2.5, I just feel like it's safe. I looked at his numbers. I think he's gotten that in almost every week. So.
Oh yeah, there's one game with 1. Everything else is 2 or above. Only one game at 1, one game at 2, and everything else is 3+.
That's what I mean. It's just, it's minus money, but in a game where we're expecting so many points, like 2.5 catches.
Yep.
Or 3 catches. I mean, that's easy.
So at any point, are we thinking that it's too high of an over? Are we getting baited into an over?
No, as you said, it's coming down. I mean, I think
the 58 was baiting for sure.
Yeah, I think as it's coming down, 56.5. I mean, you got a 30 to 27 option there. You've got a 31. I guess 31-24 wouldn't do it. So it's I mean, assuming this is a 3-point game, the predicted total is 30 to 27. Which the first week they played, it was what 34-28. What was the score on that? No, it was 37-34. They went to 71 points the first time they played. Even if you take off 15 points, they're hitting this.
I mean, I like the over, but I'm still somehow the sucker that thinks that Seattle's defense is going to regress to the mean and get a little bit better. But the Cardinals' defense is now ranked 9th overall in DVOA, and I could see them holding the Seahawks similar to the way the Rams did last week to, I think, what was it, 17 points. It's the over scares me, but I still want to like it because it's these two offenses.
Last 3 Arizona games, real quick, and then we'll jump to the 1 o'clock. Last 3 Arizona games, they've had 62 points total, 65 points, 71 points. I mean, they play mediocre defense and they have good offense. Seattle's the same thing, good offense, worse defense. If you're going to take a side, I'd take the over. So, all right, let's move on to our Sunday slate of games.
That's 6 games on Sunday that I'm releasing absolutely free. These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your unborn children on these 6 games. Absolutely.
All right, first game we have on the board, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Spread is Jags plus 10.5, over under 47. I'll lead off with this. I think the Steelers are going to win. I think they're going to cover, but it scares the shit out of me. 2 years in a row, I've gotten knocked out of my survivor pool with the Steelers versus Jags matchup. I don't know how they play every fucking year, but it is.
But Blake Bortles isn't there anymore, so.
This is true. But, yes, they have gluten. The gluten, it exfoliates. I'm not a big fan of the Jags. I know they've played 2 close games with the Texans and the Packers the last couple of weeks, and that's what scared me to make them they're my survivor pick, FYI. But I was scared of this, and when I dug deep into the stats, I looked at Houston and Green Bay's defenses. They're bad.
Mhm.
They're both really bad. They generate next to no pressure. They give up a ton of yards on the ground, which plays into the Jags' strength because it's basically just going to be Robinson running the ball all day, and Luton has to make a couple of passes when need be on 3rd and 5. But I think this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, I mean, they're 1 in sacks. They're number 1 in interceptions. I think they're number 2 in pressure rate.
Without blitzing.
Without blitzing. TJ Watt, as an individual player, has the highest pass rush rate in the league for anyone. I just think this Pittsburgh defense is more vaunted than anything that Luton has seen, and it'll just be overwhelming to him. And then on the other side of the ball, you go to one of the worst defenses in the league in Jacksonville with the Steelers that, I mean, I'm just pissed off at James Conner. He's my fantasy running back, and he's just terrible
at best.
Yeah, well, last week against Cincinnati, perfect game script. Up a shit ton of points, just run the ball, and they wouldn't do it. So they've just been airing the ball out to Claypool, Deontay Johnson, and Juju, and it keeps
And
working.
Eric Ebron.
Well, Eric Ebron, yeah. I mean, even James Washington gets in there. They're just airing the ball out, and I think this game can get out of control quick. They're clearly, after last week's game against Cincinnati, not afraid to just run the score up and keep throwing the ball. So give me Pittsburgh minus the 10.5 and short list of super locks.
So, and you bring up a very valid point that last week was the first time that we saw Pittsburgh actually blow a team out and perform as well as the way they should. 2 weeks ago, we saw them barely squeak by the Cowboys, and I'm one to say that Tomlin always likes to coach to the level of competition. That's what scares me here about 10.5. But the fact that they beat up my Cincinnati Bengals last week, it did give me some confidence that they're able to cover this 10.5. I am taking the Steelers. The hook here at 10.5 does scare me a little bit. But one thing just to build on your pass rush argument here as well, Bird, is that the Steelers are ranked 2nd in the league in team pass rush win rate at 55%. And they don't have to blitz to do it. They get there with 4 a lot of the time. But the more surprising thing to me here is pass rush win rate. They're 2nd at 55. Guess who's first? The Atlanta Falcons.
Wow.
At 56%. I was a little surprised there.
Look at that, Nick.
Those Falcons, they watch out. Maybe the
World beaters.
Lock of the week. I'm going to go with Steelers. I keep on forgetting that this Steelers team with Mason Rudolph and half a brain after Mason Garrett hit him in the head with a helmet somehow got to 8-8 last year.
Yeah, with Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, like
I'm sorry.
like what? How?
One quick aside.
And that's not even without some of these healthy wide receivers.
Oh, yeah, they had nobody last year. But one quick aside that I just heard yesterday that is so awesome is that you brought up Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph. Myles Garrett and Mike Tomlin play Words with Friends with each other still. First of all, didn't know people played Words with Friends still. Second of all, like Mason Rudolph has to be like, yo, coach, like what the fuck, man? Like,
yeah. So one person that plays it, the hottest guy in our fantasy league, Dalvin Cook, Bill Sullivan, still plays Words with Friends.
Oh, that's true.
But yes, I'm going to take the Steelers and the points. This defense is why I'm taking it. Last year they got them somehow to 8-8 with those awful quarterbacks. Big Ben looks great. For some reason, Danny picked him up in fantasy. Doesn't even need him with Pat Mahomes, but picks up Ben is a
wild move for sure. I mean, people having 2 or 3 quarterbacks always blows my mind.
in a 10-team league.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna do? All right, let's move on to the next game. We have the Detroit Lions at the Carolina Panthers. The spread is -2.5. It's hard to find right now. Haven't seen an over and under for it. Hasn't really been up all week because Teddy Bridgewater is dealing with some nagging injuries. He will play. Matthew Stafford has a torn ligament in his thumb, I believe, and he sounds like he's going to play, even though he might not be as effective.
He's a tough guy. He'll try to play, yeah. We'll see.
I mean, he had it last week during the game, still threw for 3 touchdowns, and they won. So, I mean, clearly it's not bothering him enough to completely sink his play. Kenny Galladay's questionable. He did practice on Wednesday. It's limited, but he might suit up. I don't know. There's a lot of injuries in this game, and I'm going to take the side that's a little bit healthier with the Panthers -2.5. I think it's just a better coach team, and I'm going to take the trust in Teddy and that offense a little bit more.
McCaffrey is still out?
He's still out.
Yeah, already ruled out for this week.
Yep.
And I did see an over-under at 47 for the record. Not that I see where it ends up on at other books, but.
Lions, a team. Both these teams, I just don't really care that much about.
Yup.
Do I know what's going to happen? No, I'll guess, but I'll go with the Panthers. I think the home team, I'm going to go with the Lions.
Astute analysis.
Really talked yourself into that
I'm
one.
going to take the points.
He couldn't think of a reason to justify the Panthers pick and just switch.
I get it. I just don't. Panthers without McCaffrey are just two different teams. I think the Lions have a little bit more weapons on offense that can kind of get there. I think a Matt Patricia team will somehow hold Teddy Bridgewater in check. So there you go, Lions.
I tend to want to lean the Lions as well here, getting the points. They always seem to play in close games. Panthers also seem to be playing in a lot of close games here. It's two mediocre to above average offenses against two terrible defenses. The fact that Christian McCaffrey is out is why I lean the Lions here, but the fact that Kenny Golladay is still questionable, we'll see about Matt Stafford. It does scare me a little bit here, but I'm still, for some reason, trusting the Lions, who are on a little bit of an itty-bitty run here. I'm still trusting them
the Panthers have had to take care of Tampa Bay and Kansas City the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
I mean, those are two tough offenses. Now you get to go play the Lions. It's almost like you're going back to play a JV team. Like, it's completely different. And I think if Golladay is out, you just stick James Bradbury on Marvin Jones. It's like, go beat me with Danny Amendola and TJ Hawkinson. Yeah, good luck.
I'm actually going to put a contingency.
Contingency?
Golladay has to be
Oh,
playing.
Golladay has to be playing? Yeah, no. No contingencies anymore. Lions is Nick's pick, and that will be it.
It's on the board.
It's on the board, yeah. All right, let's move on to the next game. We have the New England Patriots at the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are getting 2.5 points, over under 49. I'm going to let you guys start with this.
I think you guys did a couple of guys over here chirp me. I think you got a lot of flack for talking about these Patriots and how good I think they are, even though how bad they played. I think they're just a too well-coached team. I think they're going to run off a couple wins here.
Is that why you took the Ravens last week, or?
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
We all did.
That's when I actually thought they were going into tank mode, but Bill Belichick and his team actually, they're still going to try to make the playoffs, and this is the Pats. I'm going to take them to win this game by more than 2.5.
I mean, same. I'm taking the Patriots here, and I do think that the Pats still have a legitimate chance at getting a wild card spot here. They're definitely not taking the division with the Bills and Dolphins here.
Win out.
To get a wild card?
Well, they can afford one loss.
I mean, yeah, and we've only got a few weeks left here, but I think that both these teams are pretty bad. I think that the Texans are a way worse team. And even though the Texans have been in a lot of close games against good teams and had a brutal start to the year, playing the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Ravens to start the year, I just think the Texans aren't that great.
Imagine if they had everyone in them on that defense. Gilmore's in.
The Pats? I thought you meant the Texans. No. They have 7 opt-outs. We've talked about it in the past.
This team would be a legit playoff contender if they had their team back, I think.
Oh, yeah. No, with Cam Newton,
Edelman back out with.
It would be the Bears. If the Bears had Cam Newton, they would have a great defense and a mediocre to above average offense, and with a great defense like that, they'd have a chance.
Patriots have a better offensive line,
but that's what I'm saying. If Cam Newton were on the Bears would have a legitimate chance at going somewhat deep in the playoffs. And I truly think that if the Pats defense were all here and they weren't all those opt-outs, it would look close to what the Bears defense is with Cam at quarterback. So I agree with you, but I'm taking the Pats minus 2.5 here.
I really want to take Houston. I just
don't do it. I care about you.
He has Patriots bias.
I care about you.
I mean, the last couple weeks, the Texans have looked better. They lost to the Browns, but it was only by 3 points. They covered the spread. They beat the Jags in not a very strong game, but they were up 8 pretty much the whole game, and Luton scored at the very end. My issue comes with the fact that the biggest weakness for Houston is that rush defense. It just gets gashed, and the Patriots aren't going to throw the ball. They're just going to fucking run it all game. So, like, Cam might have a struggle going to Watt's side, but if he just goes to the other side and you let Damian Harris run up the middle, I think they'll be fine. And Gilmore did get a limited practice in. If he does play, you put him on Will Fuller. And
no, if Gilmore's there, it's no question.
Yeah, if Gilmore plays and all of a sudden Will Fuller shut down, good luck beating you with Brandon Cooks and Randall Cobb.
Kenny Stills.
Kenny Stills doesn't fucking play anymore.
Texans are 2-7 against the spread.
I know, and that's why I feel like they're just due. Like I feel like it's just regression to the mean. They're just going to be
a higher spread. I think.
Agreed.
That's what gets me. If this was 3.5, I'd take the Texans already. But
Same.
I'm going to take the Patriots. They just need to win by 3 on the road. I think they've come to real at least they've shown the world, hey, we're not tanking. Like we are still trying to win games. We just beat Baltimore. We played the Jets to a close game, but we won that. I think it's just not in Bill Belichick's DNA to roll over. And he does like to beat his old coaches. Bill O'Brien's not there, but Romeo Crennel used to coach under him too. So if he can beat him, it's the same thing. Let's do the Patriots. I don't like us all on the Patriots, but that's me. All right, next game. This game, for some reason, the spread keeps coming up and down. I don't fucking know why. There's no. Am I missing some information on the Titans-Ravens? All right, so we have the Tennessee Titans at the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are -6, over under 49. I don't see any reason why this line shouldn't be here. I'm going to start off. Give me the Titans +6. I just think that.
Why is this any Coburn in this game?
No,
there's a lot of games that aren't on the at least our book and a lot of books that they're not up for, and I don't get why.
This spread doesn't make sense.
I thought it was going to be less.
I think this should be a 3-point game.
I had originally thought it was going to be
I keep seeing
2.5.
Give me the Titans +6. I just think that this is a playoff rematch from last year when the Titans blew the doors off the Ravens. I think the Ravens will be back for revenge, but they haven't looked good on offense. They couldn't get anything going against the Pats, and if that defense can't stop the Pats, how are you going to stop the Titans, who are just a better version of the Pats? But I think that it's too many points. Ravens might win, but I don't think they cover. You got to win by a touchdown.
But you just alluded to it, because I want to say the Titans getting 6 points against a team that hasn't looked great the past few weeks. I want to go with the Titans here. But you alluded to it, playoff revenge game. Lamar Jackson can finally get some sort of monkey off his back by beating a decent team here. And, well, I say a decent team who lost to the Bengals. But not many of the Ravens games have been close. They are either losing or winning by a good amount, blowing teams out. And I think that they come out pissed off here after losing to the Pats. It's the playoff revenge game. I think that this is a statement game for Harbaugh, for Lamar, for this team in general. They need to start stepping it up if they have any chance at winning the division. The bye week's out the window at this point, but I still think they're going to try to vie for the AFC North title, and the Steelers are undefeated, and I'm taking the Ravens here.
Okay. Nick?
The spread doesn't make any sense.
Agreed.
Yeah. But sometimes they don't. You just got to seize the opportunity. What do you think?
I think that it's baiting you into the Titans.
It is. This. I mean, I have a bias towards the Titans because I think they're a decent team, but I mean, they got whooped by the Bengals. They got whooped by the Colts. They didn't look great against the Bears. Didn't look great against the Steelers. They gave up 36 points to the Texans, won in overtime. They whooped the Bills, which this team barely beat the Vikings, barely beat the Jags, barely beat the Broncos.
It's up and down team.
Maybe we're giving this Titans team maybe too much credit for that run on the playoffs last year.
I mean, they need to be clicking on all cylinders, and I agree with you. The line is very misleading, but
sus.
I'm going to go with the Ravens in the points. -6. I mean,
okay. Guess I'm lone man on the Titans.
It doesn't make any sense.
You're the lone man on 3 games so far.
It doesn't make any sense.
Nick and I are in sync.
I got to make up games somehow.
I like the Titans. My gut says the Titans, but that line makes no sense. If I saw this game, I'd be taking the Titans at any normal spread. But -6 is they're saying Vegas is telling you to bet.
Well, I think Vegas is just really in on Baltimore. I mean, the spread was 7.5 last week, and they lost outright.
No. Vegas is not in on any team. They are in on making money, and they're telling people to bet.
Put the lines where it gets half.
They are trying to protect themselves, and they know that the Ravens have had a couple of bad games, but the Ravens are still probably top 3 team in the AFC.
They have no offense.
But at any time, you have the reigning MVP on the team. At any point, he can just go off.
Yep.
And that's what they're afraid of. Like, you make this a 3-point game, people hammer the Ravens, and then all of a sudden they win by fucking 20, and the book gets killed.
Baltimore's a top 5 defense too.
I hate this pick. I hate
the spread.
This is my least favorite pick.
It's not a bad tease spot. If you really like the Ravens, tease them down to pick them.
No, I don't like him. I want to tease the Titans up to plus.
Oh, you can do that too.
I like that more.
Plus 12.
Yeah. All right. On to the next game. We have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Cleveland Browns. The spread on this is Browns -3 over under 47. What do you guys think?
I hate the Eagles. They kicked me out of Survivor last week. They're an atrocious team, but I'm going to take them with the points.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going with the Browns. I'll say it up front here. If there was the hook at -3.5, I'd lean the Eagles here. But I just think that the Browns are able to run the ball. They've been getting back to that the past couple of weeks. They have Chubb back now. The Eagles' front 7 is good, but their run defense overall has not been great. And I'm taking the Browns because it's -3.
You have in any sort of stat I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I just like Fletcher Cox to stop it. He's an animal. He's one of my favorite players.
They have good defensive linemen, but as Matt alluded to, they're better at getting pressure like on passes. They're not great at stopping the run. I think Philadelphia's bottom 5 in rush defense this year.
Run stop win rate, they are ranked 18th, and the Browns are ranked 3rd in run block win rate.
And that's the kind of Cleveland needs to succeed by just running the ball because Baker Mayfield looks like fucking trash.
Mm-hmm.
And
keep him a game manager.
If he gets pressure against him, which I think he will this week, he just struggles. And I mean, he gets Austin Hooper back now, second week after the appendicitis, so that might help a little bit. But I am worried about this Cleveland offense. It really relies on Chubb and Kareem Hunt, who I think both are good fantasy plays. They both can have really good games, but I can't trust Carson Wentz either. That's my issue. Carson Wentz is worse than Baker Mayfield.
I started him in 2 leagues last week.
Like Philly got back Miles Sanders, Alshon played a little bit.
Rager's back.
Goddard's there. All the weapons are there. Lane Johnson's back. Not all the weapons.
Goddard's not back.
Goddard's back.
I'm sorry, my mistake. Ertz is coming back.
Yeah, no, Ertz isn't back yet, but he's got Goddard. So he has his tight end. He's got a couple of receivers. Miles Sanders, his best offensive lineman's there. He got his fucking ass beat by the New York Giants. Like, do we really think the Browns are worse than the Giants?
Carson Wentz is dead to me.
He's terrible.
He's terrible. That's why I love the pick.
And I think Myles Garrett can just get pressure. Honestly, I was leaning the Eagles with Nick, but I've talked myself into the Browns.
Go ahead.
I'm on the Browns.
We'll go to the
Don't do it. Browns are dead to me. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. I'll pick against you the rest of the year.
They're not dead to you.
You know what? They are dead to me. I'm going with the Eagles. Fuck them. Come on, Nick. Let's go.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
That just fucking sucked last week, Don.
All right.
Oh, brutal.
It was so bad.
All right, we got 2 more games to get to for the 1 o'clock slate, and it involves both of your teams. So let's start. We got the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. Saints are -5, over under 50 points. Jameis Winston with the first start of the year after Drew Brees goes down. What do you guys think? I'll let Nick lead off.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be an easy one. It's going to be an easy one. Falcons, money line, take it. Jameis Winston will take it. The Falcons will steal a game no matter what against the Saints or the Bucks, and this is just it's teeing the Falcons up to the 7-9 destiny that they're meant to be at. I don't know why I hate this picking the Falcons, which is why I love it. I'm going to say this 1,000 times. The picks I hate are the ones I love. And
Makes
the
sense.
Falcons +5. I don't see, and if the Falcons do lose, I don't see the Saints. I know they have a good defense. I know they still have good weapons with Kamara and
Michael Thomas
coming back, who's still pretty bad. I know the Falcons' defense is awful, but for some reason, the Falcons coming off a bye, going into New Orleans, happened last year, will happen again. Falcons win.
I'm taking the Saints here. It's the first game with a backup quarterback. I think they rally around. I mean, they went 5-0 last year with Teddy Bridgewater starting when Breeze went out, and I think
with him, Lisick. Right?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, that 30-30 vision now, instead of 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. We'll see if it works out. But I think that they're going to rally around the fact that Breeze is out, that it's a backup quarterback, that they're still in position. They're the 2 seed in the NFC right now, I believe. And they've got a decent chance at getting the bye. The NFC looks pretty wide open with the Packers sitting at the top. And I think that the Saints have an amazing defense. The Saints are already the one?
Yeah.
Okay, my mistake. But yeah, then they want to keep that trend and continue to lock up the one bye this year in the playoffs. And I think that the Saints defense has really come into its own the past few weeks. I think Michael Thomas will look a little bit better, and that Jameis will take his shots, and he might make a few really dumb plays like he did at the end of the game last week and looked foolish. But honestly, I think that this might be the worst thing for Jameis, though, because if he had never played a snap this season, everyone was already talking about, oh, Jameis, he's coming up on a contract year, and everyone was already talking about, like, oh, Jameis is out there next year. Oh, the Bears should have gotten Jameis. If he hadn't played a snap to show him being bad. Well, because the Bears, if they had a decent quarterback, they'd be in the playoff mix.
They say that every year.
Yeah, Bears suck. They're just as
bad.
They're such a tortured franchise, similar to our teams. It's not worried about them.
That's all I had. I'm taking the Saints.
I know. I'm hesitant because if Drew Brees was playing, I would take the Saints here, but
100%. But it'd also be at 7.5, not 5.
Well, and the other thing that I'm curious about is the Michael Thomas Jameis Winston relationship. Like, if that's clicking and Michael Thomas becomes the player where he should be, even though he hasn't looked like it all year, then he could just pick apart that Atlanta defense all day. But as I'm pulling up the stats, I mean, third down conversion rate for Atlanta and New Orleans, very similar, but now you take out the efficiency of Drew Brees and you get the extreme inefficiency of Jameis Winston. Atlanta has the advantage there. Defensive third down rate, Atlanta, New Orleans, neck and neck. Okay? DVOA, New Orleans defense is better by a lot. But the offensive comparisons are not as bad. I think that the Atlanta offense is coming back to its own. Calvin Ridley should be back, Nick. Yes?
Yes.
Should be back.
Okay. So we've got Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones up against the Saints defense. And while the Saints defense has been playing better, I'm just afraid of Winston. I think that if it comes down to big plays on third down, Matt Ryan is much more equipped than Jameis to handle it. And I'm going to take the Falcons plus the 5 points. I'm with you, Nick.
Smart man. Smart man.
I think they'll lose for sure, but they're not going to lose the spread.
No, Nick's going money line Falcons.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'll look at it. Let's see. What are the odds on the money line here?
Got to be what, minus 220?
Plus.
Oh, plus 220. Thank you.
Minus 220. It's plus 180 for the Falcons.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'll do that, but I like the plus 5.
That's a deceiving plus 180 for a 5 spread.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't plus 220.
Yeah, they know something's up. And I think it's just the Jameis factor. Like, he's high risk, high reward. He could throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, or he could throw 4 picks and 2 pick sixes.
Oh, why not both?
Yeah.
4 for 4.
Yeah, 4.
Can we go for any time pick for Jameis? Anything? I'll look that up, but I didn't see it up yet.
I mean, your defense sucks. I don't know if I want to do that, but he does too. So, all right, on to the next game real quick. On to the next game. Let's go with the Cincinnati Bengals at the Washington Footballs. The spread is Washington minus 1.5. I've seen it at Pick'em. It's It's a close game, and the over-under is 47. Let's start with Matt.
I thought this was going to be a pick'em. I know that this is the game that everyone has circled on their calendars. They're going to have Red Zone up on one screen and the Bengals versus Washington on their other screen.
We're on to Cincinnati.
It's super exciting. Obviously, I'm kidding, but I'm taking the Bengals here. Shocker. I think that it's two pretty. The Washington has a decent defense, top 10, above average, but both of these offenses aren't great. But that Washington's offense is not even going to be able to score that much on the Cincinnati terrible defense. I trust Cincinnati's offense more than I trust Washington's defense.
Yeah.
It's a close spread. It's essentially a pick'em. I'm going with the away team here, laying
Mixon
points, or getting points. Mixon still didn't practice as of yesterday, which was Wednesday.
That's a no.
They are so coy with these fucking injury updates, and it pisses me off so. I have Mixon in every goddamn league I'm in. It's frustrating as hell. I think he's going to be out one more week, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually going to make this my A+ lock of the week. I'm taking the Bengals with you.
Oh, yes.
I think this is the Washington looks awful. They shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be. I think this should be a Bengals plus 1.5, +2. I mean, Bengals -2 spread instead of a Washington -1.5 spread. I think the quarterback situation in Washington's atrocious. I think the Bengals coming off a bye week and right?
Nope. We lost to the Steelers last week.
Oh, that's
we
right.
were coming off a bye.
And then lost to the Steelers. I just think the Bengals, are going to be too good of an offense to stop. I like the pass rush, but Joe Burrow has seen a good pass rush from Steelers.
Oh yeah,
and
the Ravens.
The Ravens. He's handled it. He knows what he's going up against. So I think he's learned very well for rookie season. People are not talking about how well he's been doing. I like the Bengals. I think they're going to put up points this week.
Joe Burrow has had a good season, but the two games that you just mentioned, Baltimore and Pittsburgh,
those were the ones you should.
Yeah, those where he shit his pants and scored single digits, and that team gave up 30-something points both those weeks. Granted, those are much better teams in Washington, but ever since Alex Smith took over, they've been a much more efficient offense. They've actually been able to score. And I just looked over the last 3 weeks, they are third in the league in third down percentage conversions on offense. Alex Smith is the ultimate game manager. I've always hated him, but he knows how to move the chains, and he's a much better quarterback than the last two jabronis they've been playing all year. And as long as he doesn't get hurt, I think he can move the offense on this terrible Cincinnati defense. And as good as Joe Burrow is, he's played some tough teams, but that front seven of Washington is just as good as the front seven, or just around as good as the front sevens of Baltimore and Pittsburgh. I think they can generate a lot of pressure on that offensive line. I think Pittsburgh will get theirs. And the offensive money, or the public money you've already seen come on the Bengals. We saw it at a pick'em this morning. We had it at -1.5 here. I think that money. I just said it's a pick'em, so money line is just even money. So I think Washington is the pick here. I just think that there's no way they.
Why'd you have to curse Alex Smith like that and say unless he gets hurt?
And this brings us to why.
Yeah, I'm
actually it's 50-50 on the money.
This
Let's pick them.
No, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's not a lot. You had said public money's on the Bengals. It's 50-50.
Which means the smart money's with me. Nice.
Percentage of bets. Percentage of bets is on Cincinnati.
Also, you're under 30%, and it's a spread pickup. This is a money lock pick.
Money line. There we go.
I think people are just more excited about the fantasy options of the Bengals and
100%.
We've got some nice offensive weapons. They might have, outside of the Jets and the Jags, the worst defense in the league.
I don't even know that you need to see outside of those two.
Well, I think they're pretty bad. But
Thank you for being nice.
Bottom 3 defense in the league, a shit offensive line, no Joe Mixon potentially. You got Gio Bernard, who's fine, but he can't handle it. Joe Burrow literally has to beat the team and win the whole fucking thing. So I give me Washington. I think I hope you win, but I just don't think you will. So The worst is the Bengals are going to lose by 1 point, and I'm going to lose this anyway.
Pretty much.
So, all right, that's going to do it for our 1 p.m. slot of games. We're going to wrap this week's episode up, and then we will do the 4 o'clock games, the primetime games, and survivor picks for tomorrow's episode. And we'll review all our A-plus locks, our over-unders of the week. Sounds like Nick already has his in with the Bengals, but we'll review them all tomorrow. And, yeah, remember to rate and review, share this around, like it, subscribe, ring the bell. Shout it from the rooftops. Yeah, anything else, guys? Retweet, yeah.
Retweet, tell your friends, all that fun stuff.
Anything else before we go, guys?
That's it.
Nope.
All right, well, as always, thank you guys for listening. If you made it this far, appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.